Hey folks, we're back with another episode of Wild Ride with Steve-O, and I think this week there's a lot of media paying very close attention. So how about we get right into it with the light heavyweight champion of the world, ladies and gentlemen, John Jones.
What's up?
The champ is here.
What's up?
We're here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're parked outside of John Jones' beautiful mansions overlooking the Sandia Mountains.
Thank you. It's not a mansion.
It's pretty dope. It's got a guest house.
What's the step below a mansion?
Probably this place.
You bought this house from Holly Holm.
I brought this house from Holly Holm and her dad, Roger. Yeah.
When?
It's been creeping up on 3 years now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So what, does that mean that when she knocked out Ronda Rousey, she felt it was time for an upgrade?
Yes. I got the upgrade for her, for sure.
Yeah.
She wasn't living here. She sold you the house.
Yes. Sorry, yes. She sold me the house. She's a real estate agent. And,
man, I had
that's
no
pretty
idea.
badass.
Yeah, if she did live here, that'd be pretty cool, too.
It's a
I
good
wouldn't
thing
mind
she's
having-
got a day job after the whooping I gave her yesterday.
Yeah, we all saw that, dude.
Yeah, but
She
she
dominated.
Dude, it was like if if I got in front of a car, and
So
got
strong.
Dude, it was insane. So let's just let everybody know how this came to happen. John, you reached out to me last week.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the power of momentum. You know, when you have great ideas, to not sit on them, but to just go for it. And I have this group called the CARE Project, where we are a nonprofit in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Stands for
Community Appropriate Relief Effort.
You beat me to it. Good
Yeah.
job, Steve-O. Yeah, and I know that you've spent time in Albuquerque. I've been to several of your shows here in Albuquerque, which are awesome, by the way.
It's such an honor, man.
And-
I lived here for like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
96 to 98.
Yeah, man. And I know that I see the turnout, people that comes to your shows, and I know you got a lot of love for Albuquerque. So I just thought I'd give you a call, man. Use that momentum and just see what's the worst thing that can happen. You can say no, right?
Dude, it was so awesome. I remember I was at the skate park. I'm trying to get some tricks, and all of a sudden my phone's ringing in my pocket, and I look at it. It says Johnny Bones Jones. I'm like, dude, I'm getting a call from John Jones right now. All right, what's up, dude? And he said, hey, man, like, I got this new initiative, this charity. We're cleaning up Albuquerque. We're doing all these things to help out the people, and I wonder if you could get behind it. And I said, dude, why don't we get together and film something together to make it happen? I'll be there next week.
Next week.
And then that was last week.
Legend.
So I come out here. We have made news all over the place.
Yeah, man. You're a man of your words, Steve. I respect that.
Every day you've made news.
I just got
I don't think it's the news people were expecting, though.
I just got a text from my TMZ guy. I'll admit it. When I got a story, I contact TMZ to try and get it. And I told them, I said, absolute exclusive here.
You attention whore.
Said, I am such an attention whore. Yeah. Okay, so here it is, and this got published like minutes ago. It says, want to see Steve-O ollie over the greatest MMA fighter ever?
Hey.
Good, because TMZ Sports has obtained video of the former Jackass star starboarding over John Jones at a New Mexico skate park this week, and it's both awesome and terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Check out the footage. Jones laid down on a ramp and let Steve-O skate over him, and the first attempt nearly cracked John's ribs.
They know how to hype something up.
By the way, if you're wondering why the duo are spending time together in New Mexico, it's all for a great cause. Steve-O joined the UFC champ to help his efforts with the CARE Project, raising money and support for communities impacted by COVID-19 pandemic in New Mexico. Steve-O is a massive UFC fan and has been a regular at UFC fights for years. What
That's
up?
big. That's big, man.
Dude, that was
is
like
big.
worth reading on a podcast.
Absolutely,
to me.
man.
Yeah, that's
absolutely. It felt so great to bring some acknowledgement to the CARE Project, man, and to have you come back and support and to bring exposure in such a positive way, doing a stunt and giving back to the community.
Right.
It's gonna be huge, man. I really hope this CARE Project thing just takes off, and everybody in the community wants to be a part of it at some point. Man, that's my goal. I want to be the biggest nonprofit in Albuquerque, and have it to where every other nonprofit that needs anything, whether you're the Boys and Girls Club or not, I'm not even sure if they're a nonprofit or not, but whether you're the Boys and Girls Club or a food bank, I want the CARE Project to have their hand in every company so that they need absolutely nothing. I want to provide for this whole town, for this whole city.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
dude.
And this all came about that night when you saw you taking the spray cans out of people's
Yeah,
hands?
if anybody didn't know, like there was major riots going on, looting. People are just being disrespectful of the city of Albuquerque. And then you see on the news John Jones in the streets and like just forcibly
Punking people.
dude, forcibly taking away spray can from kids that are like, trying to destroy property and saying, look, that's disrespectful to our city. I'm mad too, but this isn't the way. And like that got the attention of the whole world.
Yeah, I think it stood for an idea. We're seeing people all over the world looting cities and taking over police stations and I think what the Care Project, well, we weren't the Care Project then, but I think what I represented that night was an idea of civilians standing up and saying, hey, not in our city. Who knows what could have happened in Albuquerque if the Care Project wasn't created or that message wasn't sent, that
Right.
people, the message that was sent was that we're not going to stand by while the police stay 3 blocks away. We're not going to just stand by and watch you spray paint and watch you do whatever you want to do. The message got really clear that there was going to be a group of men that speak up, and sure enough, man, we, got 30 men to go out and kind of police our protest. And
This was on a following night.
That was
it
the
started
following
out
night.
with just you taking spray can away.
Yeah.
And then like maybe like the next night, like whatever. It's a couple days later. I saw it on all the MMA, YouTube videos. Now you've got like a whole crew of 30 people. You see weapons. You see like
Yeah.
we're out there, but nobody's messing with our city tonight. And I know a lot of people got a little bit uncomfortable seeing that because it felt a little bit vigilante-ish.
Yeah. So we
So we walked it back for me to come out here, and we don't want anybody to be intimidated
Yeah,
or nervous.
definitely
so
not
what we're gonna
vigilantes.
do? What did we do?
What we did was we went the complete opposite route. The first night we went out, we had 30 men with us, and we did go out as a nonviolent group, but we did also have about 5 of the 30 guys have their sidearms just for security for the group members,
Sure.
not to approach protesters.
Were you worried at all for your safety when you're out there?
Oh, absolutely. People thought we were police officers because we did have some jackets on and stuff like that. I was definitely worried for my safety, but we made it really clear that we were nonviolent and that we were here with the people. We were there, a part of the protest. But we also wanted to represent our community well by having peaceful, nonviolent, vandalizing type protests.
Sure.
So, and it worked. We only had to show up one time as overwatchers, and I think the message was sent. We actually kind of apprehended someone that night and took cans from another group of people that night and searched their car for more cans and found more cans. We only had to do that one time, and I think the message was sent that John Jones and the care group are out here, and if the police are going to stay blocks away, these guys will do something to you themselves.
Sure.
We're not going to hurt you or anything,
Yeah.
but a bunch of CrossFit athletes and powerlifters and UFC fighters,
UFC fighters.
Yeah.
asking you to not do that, you may stay home.
I'm surprised it took the kid so long to give you his can. I mean, because you're just
Yeah.
like, get over here, like,
Yeah.
like you're the older brher, like, hey, idiot,
It
like.
was a surreal moment, because every act of aggression or I've done every. I'm a very laid back, peaceful, chill dude. I never get confrontational. I don't even like to argue. So anytime I get that feeling of anger, it's usually in a UFC situation. So I haven't been in a street fight since Daniel Cormier. I don't get in arguments, face-to-face
Wait a
confrontations
second.
like
what do you
this.
mean? You got in a
Street fight.
street fight with Daniel
Yeah,
During
Cormier?
the face-offs.
MGM Grand in the arena a few years ago. Back in, I'm not even sure what year that was, but yeah, dude, beat him up.
That was on the first one.
Yeah, the first fight. Yeah, the first time we faced off, we went forehead to forehead, and he chopped me in the throat. I ended up pushing him over, tackling him off the stage. It was crazy. I thought I got the best of him. He ended up taking off his dress shoe and winging it across the room, trying to hit me in the face to get the last lick, and ended up hitting a female reporter in the
dude.
head instead. It was crazy.
That's not good.
Moments
Yeah.
later, we go backstage and we get in this heated argument. And then that's when there's this famous whole, "Are you still there, pussy? Hey, pussy, are you still there?" Have you ever heard that line now?
He's like, I just want to fucking spit in your face.
Yeah. Daniel Cormier is like,
And you're like, dude, I will end you.
I was like, I'll absolutely kill you
Yeah.
if you do that. He's like, You think I'm just gonna sit there and let you kill me, John Jones?
How
The
close
whole
were you guys?
argument when it was people freaking reenacted
I mean,
all the
that's
time.
people love that stuff.
It was fun.
That's what it's all about. And
It was
I gotta
fun.
confess too that is like clearly like 2016 or before, right? Because I only really became like the diehard UFC fan like around that time and since. And I guess that doesn't make me very diehard, but man, I don't miss a fight, dude.
Man,
I'm
we
such a
appreciate
fan.
you, man. That's huge.
I
Man.
don't miss a fight, and I love it, dude.
Are you and John? Are you and DC cool now, or just?
Yeah, I respect DC. I think he's an outstanding man. I think he represents himself very well. I think he represents African Americans very well. I think he represents
father.
the UFC very well.
Yeah.
Being a father, being an athlete. You know, he's very well spoken. He's a great commentator.
His analysis of fights is just so fantastic, and for that matter,
Wrestling.
every one of them, every Dominic Cruz, Joe Rogan, like,
Yeah, they kill it.
They're the
They
best
got-
of the best.
Yeah,
It's
Michael
chemistry.
Bisping. These
It's-
are like the
It's chemistry.
and the analysis, just the knowledge. Like, okay, now he's gonna like, he's gonna swivel his hips. He's gonna
True
like climb
professionals
over.
who knows what they're watching.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
so articulate and so like just impressive.
I couldn't do
Yeah.
that. It'd be like a kick, and then he punched him 4 times, and then
I feel like my
know-
problem would be being biased and siding, like just subconsciously siding with people, like oh good job, or like trying not
Yeah.
to coach people and stuff. That's where I would go wrong.
especially if you knew him too.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be
Like,
I'd
no,
be biased.
sorry.
I
It'd be
mean,
real obvious who I was rooting for.
you're a super articulate guy,
Thanks,
and
man.
have you thought about getting on the commentary scene? Before John Jones gives his commentary on commentary, let me tell you about what I'm wearing on my right wrist. It's called a Whoop strap, and it's a fitness tracker which provides more insight into your overall health than any other device out there. This thing works with an app, and it's constantly giving me information. Like, for example, sleep, the exact amount of REM sleep, deep sleep, how many disturbances there were, plus all of my exercise activities, my heart rate variability. There's so much information, and I'm able to have groups of my buddies so that we can compete over who's doing more exercise, who's sleeping better, who's in overall the best health. It's just plain killer, and I have no plans of ever taking it off because I don't have to. You see, I carry the charger in my pocket at all times. It slides right on, and boom, it's charging. The thing is just so killer, I cannot recommend it enough. It works as a membership service, gives all kinds of cool perks like the strain coach, the recovery coach, constantly giving you information about how you can improve your health. And if you go to whoop.com, that's WHOOP.com, and use the promo code STEVO, you're going to get 15% off at checkout. Again, I can't recommend it enough. So again, it's use promo code STEVO at whoop.com for 15% off at checkout, and you're going to thank me for it. Now let's get back to the commentary.
No, not at all.
And why's that?
I don't know, man. I'd like to act. I like
Okay.
to use.
Well, I think that's sort of like, pushing the same boat. I think,
yeah.
give it a shot, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing something like doing like a guest hosting gig or something like that. But for the most part, I've always had it in my heart to be in a movie. I think it
I
make my
did.
daughters really proud.
And I think that a little bit of commentating would like help facilitate that. It's in front of the camera, not fighting. Like,
Would it be like an action movie, or would it be like The Notebook? Just like a sensual John
Scott,
Jones. Like,
don't make him kick your
Yeah,
ass.
I'll do it. Dude. You know I will, Scotty. I could see myself doing something like a military role to start off, just to get my feet wet. Being able to wear like a military uniform and be like an elite squad member of some SEAL team or something like that.
Yeah,
I
that'd
would
be
love
sick.
that. Some real simple lines for just to start me off, and I think it'd be right down my alley. I love
Dude,
it. It's always been a dream.
would you be worried about though that I see that most people that get into acting don't really do well in their next fight? So would you want to wait till you're done fighting?
Oh, shit.
Is that fair to say?
I mean, there is definitely, I think, a correlation between people fucking around with anything that distracts them,
Right.
and that's probably a good reason to not even be worried about the broadcasting and the commentating.
Exactly, yeah.
Because it's like, yo, let me keep my head in the game and not, you know.
I think that I will, when I do get into acting, I would want to do it wholeheartedly. I would like to take like a movie role like sometime soon, just to try like being an extra or having a small role like I was just saying, but to actually pursue it full time is when I think I'll get into that when I retire. I want to hire an acting coach and do it. Take the same approach that I've taken to my mixed martial arts career and to acting. And with commentary, another reason why I haven't really tried to pursue opportunities to get into that, and it could be a subconscious thing, I don't want people to get into my psychology too much while I'm still an active fighter. You know,
Alright.
I feel like if you're smart enough, you could listen to, I always say, if you want to know what's in a man's head, you just listen to what comes out of his mouth, and you'll start to get a true sense of what's
Alright.
going on in his head, right?
That's
I
cool.
like
So
that.
me explaining the way I see positions and things like that, I think it'll give people
A little bit of
my
insight.
Yes, exactly, and
All right.
I want them to think that it's just my long arms that makes me win.
Yeah, dude. All right, so we come up to your house, and by the way, it's so hilarious. Like, we're camped out in front of John Jones's house, and
It's been
sleeping
awesome.
in an RV. It's
All my
just
neighbors
like-
are so much more friendly right now.
Oh, dude. And right when we pulled up, park the RV, get out, and you're covered in sweat. You just got back from mountain biking with your endurance coach. Your endurance coach says to you, yo, man, our top speed was 39 miles an hour. And that's like biking on a mountain bike down a mountain.
Yeah.
Basically
Yeah.
the most like dangerous.
It's pretty dangerous for my experience level for sure. I mean, there's some cyclists who probably go way faster than that. But to be on mountain bikes and me being an amateur, that was the fastest I had ever gone, and baby steps, man. So yeah, I love it, man.
Honestly, my first thought was like, dude, that guy's on your team. He's putting you in that kind of danger.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I actually was like, not. I mean, I'm half serious, but I thought like, should John think about firing this guy?
No, dude. Actually, what we've been realizing is that mountain biking and biking, it correlates and translates over into fighting a lot
Okay.
and wrestling. And I'm actually trying to get my little brother Chandler, Arizona Cardinals football player, to start my mountain biking a lot more. I'm noticing that I'm spending so much time in this hunched over, bent over position where my knees are kind of bent. I'm not standing upright. And it's a lot like an aggressive attack position, like fighting or shooting in for a double leg dive or something like that. So I feel like my knees are getting stronger and more healthy. It's complementing my powerlifting a lot. And
I think what he's getting
I
at
love
is
it.
like it's if you fall, you're fucked.
Oh, I would be
Yeah.
fucked for
Yeah.
sure.
So it's not like you're swimming laps or something like
Right.
that. Like
Well, that's another.
it could be a career changer.
That's another
Right.
thing, the hand-eye coordination type of thing. When you're on a mountain bike, you have to be totally engaged with how fast you're going. Is the gravel loose? You know, is this bike gonna tail whip when I try to
Right.
turn this corner? This boulder's coming up on my left. I gotta jump and I gotta make it. So it's you know your eyes and your brain and your body's all moving. It's so good for you, man.
Is that
It's
like fast twitch muscle?
fast
Like,
twitch muscles, reaction time? I think it enhances so much. I really recommend it.
All right.
I think you would like mountain biking a lot. 'Cause Steve cycles, you know.
Yeah, man, you've been BMXing your whole life.
Why do the road bike?
Okay.
And I mean, I'm with it. I think it's cool. But
You never got into grinding and bikes, or is it just
dude,
skateboard?
just skateboarding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just skateboarding.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
I can't. Well, let's just walk through this trip. Okay, the mountain bike. We're here. We like John's just
Yeah,
like.
fuck your courses, Scott.
So then the next morning we wake up and it's like we go to Jackson Wink. This is like the most. I mean, like Jackson Wink is your training facility. It's your where you coach, where you train. It's I think American Top Team's pretty well known, but Jackson Wink is
We've
right
been
up there.
We've been up there for a long time. There's some teams that are definitely as known as us, and they're getting really big. And as of today, we may not be the best team in the world. But over the last decade, we have been in the top 3, top 5. And so, yeah, we're legit. We got guys from all over the world that comes in, and Holly Holm. We got some new guys that are coming in. Aaron Pico, a guy named Patchy. These are Bellator athletes that I think could compete for the UFC world title right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Holly Holm kicked my ass while we were there.
That was
Well,
awesome.
I saw her running in, and she was just dripping sweat, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
she went into kicking Steve's ass, and then she went into like hitting bags and shit. Like,
Holly Holmes, she trains about 5 or 6 times every single day. I hear there's like a disease, like a workaholic disease, where
Yeah.
people like work themselves into. She could have it, man. She runs.
Yeah.
She told me yesterday she has this goal to run 100 miles a month. 100 miles a month she runs, and for a UFC fighter, I think that's ridiculous. She does CrossFit type of workouts.
I mean, she's in shape.
She hits
She's ripped.
Winklejohn 3-4 times a day sometimes, man. She's always in the gym.
And she's
You
every
wanna
bit
run
as
a-
nice as you would expect her to be.
Very humble. She's very
Yeah.
humble, and dude, I respect that the most about Holly. Holly's one of the most recognizable people in Albuquerque. So everywhere she goes in Albuquerque, I'm her cameraman automatically. Like, can you take a picture of me and Holly?
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
give me the freaking-
that now
Yeah.
you're
She's
being a little
she's a
humble
megastar.
there too.
No,
but,
really, man. People love her here. She
I mean,
she had a
you guys-
parade. 27,000 people showed up to her parade after she
Wow.
beat Ronda Rousey.
Shit.
Yeah, so
Epic.
and the way she just so gracious with every single fan, man. It's
Yeah.
it's really special. How she deals with celebrity.
And we got some of the news that we made since we've been here. Like Holly kicking my ass is all over the MMA community, news. And you kicking my ass in your own
Yeah, that was
gym
fun.
at home.
That was fun.
That's all over the place. So then we go from the gym when we go to Walmart. We buy like $2,000 worth of towels, underwear, toiletries, like, all this stuff.
Wipes.
Yeah, and we just go around and gave it to people who needed it.
Yeah, we got to go to Tent Town, which is a place I
Oh,
had never
good,
been
man.
before.
Just Tent Town was next to the skate park where we did the terrifying ollie over the greatest. And then we went from there to go jump off of, I wanted to go jump off this building. Back when I lived in Albuquerque, it was a big deal for me, this 3-story roof, and off the roof I did a front flip into 5 feet of water. And almost 25 years later, I asked myself, could I do it again?
And you
And I
nailed
didn't
it.
want to, dude. I didn't want to, but God, I'm glad I did. And I came out here to help the city of Albuquerque. So we've got this one frame sequence of like it's one photo of the building, but I'm there. There's like 10 of me doing this front flip off the building. It's incredible. And to help the Albuquerque Food Bank, I'm
Shout
gonna-
out to Will Fox Photography, by the
Will
way.
Fox nailed
Killed
it.
it. He killed it.
Unbelievable.
Great shot.
Yeah, what are you gonna do with that poster?
Dude, I'm gonna make cardstock 8x10, sign every single one of them, and sell them on my social media platforms. And 100% of the proceeds go to the Albuquerque Food Bank.
Fuck
because
yeah, dude.
people who have been listening to this podcast have heard me say it breaks my heart that with the COVID pandemic, that people like are like, food insecure. The idea that people can't eat, just like I want to do something. And so finally, here I have this initiative. I think that I might be able to sell those autographed pictures, potentially raise like $100,000 for the Albuquerque Food Bank.
Yeah.
What do you guys think at home? You guys gonna buy a Steve-O shot and feed people at the same time?
Yeah, and I
think they
know
will.
that Tony Hawk raised $125,000 doing exactly the same thing. I'm just copying Tony Hawk's model. And he did it for COVID. It wasn't food bank specific, but it was for COVID relief in general.
They say if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Tell me about your relationship with Tony Hawk. You've mentioned him a few times.
Dude, I love the guy. Before I talk about Tony Hawk, let me tell you about what I'm doing right here. I'm harvesting my pubes. And you see, I've been collecting my pubes for just about 2 entire years so that I can make a Sasquatch suit out of them. Well, you know, shaving my pubes got a whole lot easier once I was introduced to Manscaped. No more nicking my balls, bleeding from my privates. Now, perfectly comfortable, cut-free, and grooming is a treat. Plus, you know, they just launched Manscaped in Canada, so all you hairy Canadians can get your act together. Your girl doesn't want to see that bush. You gotta get down there and groom it. Yeah. Plus, I'm never going to have any hair coming out of my nose or my ears because of the Manscaped Weed Whacker. Yeah, dude. If you don't have Manscaped's Lawnmower 3.0 and the Weed Whacker, then you just got to get your act together. And it's easy to get it too, because if you go to manscaped.com, use the promo code STEVO, you're going to get 20% off your order and free shipping. And I'm telling you, if you're cutting your balls the way I used to, man, life is going to be a lot better once you get into the Manscaped way of life. So, enjoy. And one more time, manscaped.com. Use the promo code STEVO for 20% off your order and free shipping. Now, let's talk about the Birdman.
What is it about him that inspires you?
I mean, he's just such an icon. He's such a legend. Of course, I'm just a fan, and having grown up on a skateboard, and such a good dude. And our Jackass family came from the world of skateboarding. And going back to the very beginning when it was just a little skateboard magazine, anytime that any of us ever reached out to Tony Hawk to ask him to do something, without question, 100% he was there, he did it. And sometimes it involved, like, making fun of him. Like, he's just, like, he's very, like, self-deprecating. He's happy to be the butt of the joke. He just doesn't take himself seriously. And, I mean, like, and we can help each other. Sometimes he reaches out to me, hey, you want to be a part of this thing? I'm always 100% yeah, and vice versa. So we just have this relationship. Hey, he just couldn't be he couldn't be a better guy.
That's cool.
And I feel like our relationship is becoming that way too.
I was gonna say I'm looking forward to that.
It's this fantastic, like, these worlds collide, because, like, when I'm jumping off that building yesterday, John Jones is flying the drone. He's the drone camera. Who would expect John?
He's like, oh, is that a Mavic 2? I got this.
Yeah, absolutely,
Right.
dude. I love Maverick DJI products.
We had the local Albuquerque news crew following us around too. So and John says to the news guy, "Hey man, this jumping off the building thing is
Probably not illegal.
Probably not legal,
Right.
and we probably don't want you to cover it because we don't want it to reflect badly on the CARE project." And I'm like, "Fuck that, John, dude. Like, you don't sign up on it. Cool. This I got this. I'm taking responsibility for this." And I didn't even know that I thought that was something separate from the whole Help Albuquerque, and then it turns out that might be the biggest.
Oh,
the
yeah.
biggest thing.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, I'm thrilled with that.
Dude, the stunts is what put you on the map in the first place. So for you to come back to Albuquerque, where you grew up, well, where you spent time, and freaking jumping off a building that you've done 20, it came out great. It wouldn't be Steve-O coming into town unless Steve-O did something wild, right? So
dude.
I'm glad you did it, man.
Thank you, man. I'm so glad I was gonna do it.
You
no
put
matter
your
what.
health. I was just gonna say you put your health on the line to raise awareness, but now you said you're gonna do it no matter what. So I take that back.
Well, I mean, I before we even went to your house, I visited the building. I climbed on the roof. I looked at it and I was like, man, that's shallow. I'm 6 feet tall and that pool is 5 feet deep.
I'm not sure if you've talked to anyone about your 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, no, I have.
Have you?
I have. Yeah,
Well,
I made it
for
pretty
new
well
listeners,
done. Sure. I mean, whenever I'm in a situation doing a stunt and I'm like, okay, I assess it, and then when I don't want to do it. There's no getting myself to do it, and then I just have this trick. I count 1, 2, 3, go, and when I've done that, I've never backed out in my life of anything.
And we got to watch it.
I did a 1, 2, and it took me 5 minutes to get the 1, 2, 3, go.
But once you started counting, you pulled the trigger.
You know it's on. You know it's on when I do that.
I feel like people can take that and just implement that in their own lives. You know what I mean? Just dare.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite songs. Well, it's not one of my favorite songs, but I love that song. I Hope You Dance.
By who?
I can't even think of the lady who sings it. But I listen to it all the time. It's like, I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean.
Yeah, dude.
You know that song? I hope you dance.
Well, I think
It's a great song because that's dancing. That's like, I hope you take that dance. I hope you ride the bull. I hope you freaking,
dude.
you know what I mean? That's living.
That's a good song.
And people can learn something from that. What he did yesterday was superhuman like.
Dude, I legit climbed down. When I climbed up, climbed down, and then after we got done giving away all the care packages, I said to you, I almost don't even want to say this out loud, but that roof I told you about is 0.3 miles away. John says, let's go.
Let's go get
And then
it.
John rethinks it. Like, man, I don't know if this is legal, but dude, it worked out great, man. It worked out great.
John Jones
so
saying,
good.
I don't know if this is legal. Come on. We're living in strange times, man.
Yeah, dude.
What is happening?
you're all grown up now, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening.
And then just to bring it up to current, so then we come back to John's house. He's got his championship room with every fight poster.
Victim. We
victim.
like
the
to call
victim
it.
Victim Hall.
Dude, every fight poster just wallpapering the walls. His UFC championship belts, like this is like, and this huge screen. And I got to screen for you my new project, this multimedia comedy special that I'm releasing like imminently.
That was the coolest thing ever. That was surreal. Dude, I got some of my buddies who went to Steve-O's, one of his last shows in Albuquerque, who absolutely adores this man. And for me to invite over my best friends and closest friends to watch a screening in my theater with Steve hosting it in between sets and everything, it was mind-blowing. It was one of the, I mean, yeah, my wife has always said she wants John Legend to come sing at our wedding. I mean, that's right up there. I mean, I don't know how we're going to top that. That was an amazing experience last night, Steve. Thank you so much, man.
Dude,
It's
thank
freaking
you,
wild.
man.
And that movie is gonna be nuts, guys. I feel like I have me and my friends have a secret that only we know and the whole world don't know about. It is going to be nuts. When it was over, we all felt emotionally moved, inspired in some way. I mean, you were vulnerable. You gave us visuals with some of the stories we already know about you. It was a lot, man. So many different emotions. It's something that you can't forget.
Well, thank you, man.
And everyone has to watch it who are 18 and over. Who are 18
Right,
and over.
for sure. We got to talk about fighting now, okay? Because there's so many important questions, and there's so many little things I'm curious about. Let's start with your characteristic, your trademark entrance you enter the octagon crawling.
Okay.
And then the fight starts, and you're on all fours, essentially crawling when the fight begins.
Yeah.
And what is that about?
My first crawl, not up into the cage, but crawl towards an opponent once the fight started. And that was with Rampage Jackson. And the Rampage Jackson fight, normally you see two fighters, they're always standing up. And you know, John McCarthy, are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's get it on, right? And both guys come, you know, skipping into each other. You know, I feel like I was the first fighter to ever crawl towards an opponent while the time's ticking, right?
And then we see Connor doing that too.
Now everyone's starting to do it.
Yeah,
It just feels
now
right.
Everybody's doing it.
Bro, listen,
Now
Steve-O, you get down sometime and you look at the next guy that cuts you off in line or something. You just get down and you start to freaking give him this look and fucking you start crawling up to him. It's intimidating.
Dude, if we can just get my ear cauliflowered, I won't have to do that.
They'll know
because
you're a
when
badass.
Dude, that's why I want cauliflower, because nobody's
Come up
ever
to him,
gonna fuck
you
with
want
me.
to fuck with me? Just show him that ear. So with Rampage Jackson, I kept having these nightmares that I would get knocked out. And no matter how the fight played out, I would always get knocked out. And it was always within the first 30 seconds of the fight. So, you know, one scenario I'd run out, he'd run at me, swing a huge overhand right. The other, he would throw a right uppercut. And then another dream, it was a left hook. And I couldn't avoid this inevitable knockout that I was going to experience in the first round. And, you know, I'm a big fan of sports psychology, so I call those red zone thoughts, and I actually learned that from Rashad Evans. You know, when you have a negative thought, immediately cancel it with a positive thought. You know, instead of thinking of somebody beating your ass, you think of yourself exhausted, you're winning, fight's almost over. Sure. Just think something positive. And I just couldn't avoid these images and actual nightmares of Rampage Jackson knocking me out. So on fight night, I felt like I was going to get knocked out, and I felt like this was coming for me. I felt like energetically, like I was getting these signals from a higher power that, like, John, this is going to happen to you tonight. And I couldn't avoid it. So I just had this super deep prayer where I got down on my knees and I touched my body from my head to my toe for the first time. And I prayed this prayer asking God to just give me the supernatural, like, reaction abilities, speed, flexibility, awareness, and as I was praying this prayer and touching myself and rubbing myself and meaning every ounce of this, thinking my life is on the line, I noticed looking at myself that I was covered in feathers. I was covered in white feathers.
Like a hallucination?
It wasn't a hallucination, man. It was
real as fuck to you.
It was very real to me. It was very real to me. I could see myself covered in, like, there was like small feathers in between my fingers, and I was covered in feathers, and they came up like to my neck, and my face was still like normal, not in feathers, but my hands and feet were covered, and I felt like I was like this fighting thing that wasn't earthly, almost, and I like felt this surge of energy power,
Sure.
flexibility, mental acuity and awareness and sharpness that I had never experienced before. And I like jumped off my knees and like landed on both feet immediately, and I was just like, woo, woo, and I was just, Wendy's like, my coaches was looking at me like they could feel like, okay, he is pumped up, and Coach Winklejohn's like, let's hit, and immediately I kicked the pad, and it was like, boom, and it was like, whoa, and like my kicks were lightning fast, and I didn't need to stretch anymore. I didn't need to warm up my lungs anymore. My kicks were going up high. I was jumping higher. I was kicking faster and higher. It was an unbelievable experience, and I actually was able to hang on to this feeling and this illusion of myself being in this alter ego all the way through the cage, all the way through my walk to the cage, and I felt like in that Rampage Jackson fight, I walked into that fight as this Featherman for the first time, and my idea to crawl towards him was the only thing that had it happen in all my nightmares, right? Because in every fight I started on my feet. So something just said, get on your knees and crawl up to him. And then automatically the dream voids itself of him knocking you out immediately, right? So I did that, and I got to kind of, I don't know, fight in an alter ego kind of state, and it was super powerful. Now to this day, I say that same kind of prayer over myself, and I believe that I transform into something.
I love that shit.
I got a million things like that,
Yeah.
you know?
When you were in that fight, was time slowed down for you? Were you kind of like...
Things weren't slowed down, but you get to this belief place that you are more than human at the moment, and then you believe that things, as far as just on every realm, are not designed to go against you at this moment. This is
Cool.
You're actually living in your actual purpose at this moment. This was exactly what you're designed and born to be doing. This is your mark, and at this moment, I'm being used by my higher power to like
fuck shit up.
pretty much.
Yeah, dude.
Pretty
That's
much.
a beautiful story, dude.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I really, really appreciate you sharing that, man.
Yeah.
I got a question about the walkout with the music. Like, I was so impressed when you had the song, the Queen song, the song by the rock
I
band
paid
Queen.
my dues.
Yeah, like dude, I got goosebumps from that. Like, what's the lyric? I remember when on your walkout song, it's like I've
made mistakes. I've had a few.
Dude, it was incredible. The question is, are fighters allowed to just pick any song they want? Do they have to license the music?
So we are not allowed to come out to music that has not been published by like professional like label and stuff like that. I think that's the way it works. So before the UFC, we would have all the local kind of homies making your song or whatever. And I think copyright and lawsuits, and people wanted to get a piece of the UFC, and you guys played my song on pay-per-view, now I should get a cut and all this type of stuff. So Dana White just said, hey, I think they play the fight live when you come out that night, and then even reruns on television are always
right. But the more known music like Queen is going to be considerably more expensive to license. I wonder how that even works. Yeah,
I've never asked, but the UFC, I work with a woman named Heidi who works at the UFC office. She always does the customizations of our songs, and they got some hella DJs that can cut up any song, any 3, 4, or 5 songs you want, and.
The walkout music is just such a big deal in setting the tone for the fight.
Yeah, I try not to be too superstitious about music and little things like that. Just in case if something doesn't go your way, say the music stops or the audio goes out or whatever, you're always able to get it on, no matter what state, So.
Right. Okay. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I don't hang on to the music too closely, but every once in a while I'll try to put subliminal messages in the song that I choose, but I don't allow it to affect my mental state.
Dude, I just thought that Queen, that was the only time you used that Queen tune, right?
I've used it a few times.
Oh, okay.
I've used it maybe 2 or 3 times since the first time.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but it's a relatively new thing.
It's great.
I appreciate you paying attention.
Dude, I texted you right when I saw that. I was like, damn, I waited until you won, and then I texted you.
Bro,
I don't like to fuck with fighters before a fight, man.
A text from Steve-O, I would normally be all over it, and but right around fight time, dude, my phone gets crazy.
Dude, that pisses me off personally.
I don't like it either.
That fucking pisses me off. I don't want to mess with a fighter. I don't want to contact a fighter. Like,
It's a weird feeling you get because...
What are you going to do? Fucking distract a man when he's got a war to go into?
It's like on one end, you appreciate people reaching out to you and saying good luck tonight. On the other end, you don't appreciate people reaching out to you that you haven't spoke to in a year or several months, and then they write you something of non-substance like kick his ass. I'm like, bro, if you're gonna write me something right now, I feel like my mind is at a high capacity on fight day. Like useless fucking shit. It annoys me on fight day. Say something powerful, impactful. Say, give me a quote.
Advice.
Give me a scripture. Give me something that's gonna like I can pull from later on tonight. Don't say kick his ass, because me reading that 1,000 times today is not helping anything. It's a distraction.
I got better advice. Just leave the fucking man alone. Let him concentrate. Let him be with his team, with his coaches, and then congratulate him when he wins.
Yes. I think that's what people are starting to learn to do, because I'm starting to not reply right before the fight, and I'm starting to get people get clever enough to write me a whole month later after a fight. They say, hey, I see that you won a fight last month. I'm imagining things are finally starting to calm down for you. I wanted to reach out to you and tell you that I'm so happy for you and blah, blah, blah. Those people are the ones who get the best responses from me, because I'm actually in a mental place at that point where I can actually give you my full attention and everything like that. But you get it when you make a movie.
Sure.
Everyone, your name's everywhere, and everyone wants to be a part of it at that moment, and that's when, unfortunately, you don't really have time to get into smaller conversations.
The worst is my birthday. I fucking birthdays and holidays. It's just like, so many people, happy birthday, and I know that these are people that are wishing me well, people who care about me.
I wished you happy birthday.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing.
No
from
response. I said happy birthday, and then I said something else, and then he answered the something else.
You're a bad friend.
I fucking hate birthdays. I hate birthdays because now I'm a whole year older. We're drawing attention to how fucking old I am, and my phone's bothering me all day. I got more work to do replying to texts than I.
Me and you are probably coming across as the most ungrateful bastards.
It's so funny.
Ever.
Funny.
I gotta take it back to. I want to take it back to fight day. Like, what's that like for you waking up? Do you have a routine that you do every fight that day, or does it start before that, or is it like wake up, have pancakes, fucking zone out?
Yeah, my fight day, I wake up. I wake up whenever my body wakes me up. So sometimes that's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Sometimes that's 10 a.m. It always varies, and the coaches are always on standby. We'll have a breakfast. I never eat meat on the day of a fight. I believe that meat digests really slow, and it gives you energy for like the next day or the day after that day. Definitely not the same day, So I don't eat meat on the day of an event. I'll eat meat on Friday after my weigh-ins. I'll have some meat, probably like a fish or like a white meat. But the day of the fight, I don't have any meat, and I'll eat a lot of sugar. A lot of slow-burning sugars I'll have in the afternoon, and a lot of carbohydrates throughout the day. I'll chew on some rice, some yams. You can never be overly hydrated on fight day, so I'm sipping water all day long.
Are you talking to people, or are you just like, don't talk to me?
No, I talk to very certain people on fight day. I talk to my wife. I talk to my father. I'll talk to my spiritual leaders, advisors.
Does it suck being the last fight of the night, or would you rather be first and get it over with?
Being the last fight of the night is all I've ever known. It's all I've ever known.
Oh my God, what a great answer. What a great question. What a great answer.
The GOAT, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, being the first fight of that, I don't know what you mean.
You're like, there's fights before me?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Is that what people are out there reading? No, that's so mean. No,
So you've been main event for...
Since he came out the womb.
I pretty much, maybe 2 or 3 fights in the UFC I had before being the main event guy, and the goal is to be a main event guy for the rest of my career. That's the goal, and I'm grateful for the position. I think that's going to be the case.
I think that's going to be the case no matter which way it goes. Let me ask you this: fighters we get the impression, are like really guarded about anybody knowing what their natural walking around weight is when they're not fighting.
Not me.
But when they're on an interview, they're like, "So can you talk about what you're weighing now?" And they never answer the question. Why do they do that?
I don't know. Usually, it's psychology. You don't want your opponents to know where you're at. You know, you can tell a lot about a guy based on where he's at. You know, if he's if he's 10 pounds over, if he's under, it shows you where his kind of mental is at that moment. So,
does it also indicate how much power might be depleted from him on a weight cut?
Absolutely, too. Yeah, like if I know you're 20 pounds over and we're fighting in 2 weeks. That's a huge psychological
There's no
advantage.
way I'm going to be healthy.
Well, and then mentally too. Like, you know, when you lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks, you're not gonna be there. So and when you know your opponent's having a tough weight class, I like to really get tricky with my words and manipulative and really start to try to pile on certain things, bully the guy almost into trying to break him. Before the fight even
Especially
happens.
if they miss weight by 0.5 pounds.
Oh, that'd be bad. Who are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about. Didn't you say when you're fighting DC, you're like, yeah, you'd be the champion of, you know,
205.5. Yeah. He flat
Is
out
that the
cheated.
psychological you're talking
Yeah, but
about?
205.5 isn't missing weight. It would have to be 206.5.
No. So if you fight for a title, you have to make 205.0.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
If you're fighting a UFC just 205-pound exhibition, then you can weigh in at 206.
Okay, so a championship, you got to be
205.
I remember you
didn't know
saying
that.
and I was like, oh, dude, this guy's down. You know, you got it going on. But I want to preface me talking about any UFC fighter. I am well aware that they can fuck me up at any time. And so I hate talking about them.
Very easily, Scott.
I just hate
Especially
being
you,
like
Scott.
judgmental about it because I'm like, bro, these guys will just fucking kick my ass. So I just don't want to come off as talking shit.
No, it didn't come across that way at all. And I do appreciate you having respect for the fighters. You know, a lot of fans give UFC fighters shit for a lot of different things. And at the end of the day, man, we put our lives on the line to be entertainers. You understand that?
Sure.
You know what I mean? So there's always a certain amount of leeway that I'm going to give fighters for certain things. It's a lot that goes into what we do.
Especially the keyboard warriors that just fucking.
Dude,
Yeah,
they talk, man. But
you ever seen one of them in person? You're like, I know you, dude.
I've no, never in person. No. I've had maybe one or two people flat out tell me in person, I don't like you.
Wait, do I face to face?
Yeah, it's maybe happened once or
You're
twice.
probably drunk.
In over a decade, yeah. And
Yeah.
there's usually alcohol involved there, yeah.
For sure.
But I'm learning to really appreciate haters because a hater is a person that is emotionally involved. They care.
All right.
That's true.
They care.
And it can be very motivating. I've definitely been more motivated by negative shit than I've ever been motivated by positive shit.
I'm the same way.
Right.
I'm the same way. Right now, though, honestly, being involved with the CARE project and being detached from UFC and trolls and all that type of stuff, this is motivating me way more than a world championship fight. I mean, I've been winning
that's
title
good.
fights for so long now. I get what that feels like. I know what the after party feels like. I know what it feels like to be called champ and be looked at as the greatest fighter forever. I already been experiencing these things for so long now that shit doesn't really tickle me anymore. Changing my life and giving back to other people and having people say thanks for what you did for the city last night and stuff like that. My neighbors look at me like a person that they're incredibly proud to be neighbors with. That means so much more to me than being a UFC champion. And I'm so grateful for
acts.
That's important.
so much more fulfilling.
Part of me believes that that's the way it's got to be. I mean, I know it's got to be that way because, like, I for one, I had to learn how to separate my, like, personal identity from this, like, Steve-O character because, like, I'm just going to be barreling towards misery if I don't. You know,
Right.
I got to be able to be healthy without the career. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm going to have no future. But I also know that it's a little bit, like, trickier. It's hard. It's easier said than done, you know,
yeah.
because, like, you got a legacy to worry about, you
Yeah.
know, and, like, when you say, oh, that doesn't tickle me anymore.
It feels
like,
better. It feels better, Steve-O, honestly. It feels better to leave my legacy behind for a while. You know, I'm still
Okay.
30. I'm still 32 years old, and every time I fight, I'm taking such a risk.
Yeah. And we got to talk about that too. But first, let's talk about your Twitter. And
Oh boy.
I mean, hey, I'm not putting that, like, you know, anything. I'm just acknowledging what's out there.
Okay.
Because
What's up?
because you let it ride on Twitter.
I let it ride.
Yeah, you let it ride on Twitter, and when you tweet something, it makes news. You know, and there's been a lot of people talking about UFC pay. Lately,
Yeah.
you know, it came out, I think, like last year. There was some like revelation in the media that it's you know, most sporting organizations pay their athletes 50% of all the revenue. The UFC pays 18%.
Right.
Can you explain what that means? Because I hear you say that, but I don't know what that means.
Well, I think take all of the revenue
Of
everything. Like we're
say of 250. All the revenue that came in from UFC 250.
I mean, I guess there is some intricacy to this because I've heard it said that the fighters don't see a penny off the gate.
No, we make no money on gate.
Nothing
Gate
off
sales.
concession.
Nothing off the
merch.
section tier. Merch we do actually.
Oh, okay.
Merch they give us a check every once in a while, and I'm not trying to goddamn my employer, but yeah, it's definitely nothing to.
Right.
It'll pay a bill.
Yeah, and definitely not, you know, goddamn
I've seen so many
employer.
John Jones shirts. Honestly, people ask me all the time, where do I get the lion shirt with the half lion, half face? And I'm just like, honestly, it's a nice shirt. You can get it probably on the UFC website, but if you're doing it to support me, I don't get anything off that damn t-shirt,
Right.
you know.
You see 7 cents per shirt that's bought.
If that,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm glad John said that because I'm terrified to, like, you know, mess up my relationship with the UFC because I fucking love going to the fights.
Yeah.
You know, and it could be said too that there's no other game. You know, what are you gonna make money going to Bellator?
Well, yeah, that's the most messed up thing about my situation currently is in any other profession, if you're unhappy with the way you're being treated or the way, you know, you're being paid or whatever, you can just, you know, take your shit and leave and go to the next boss and see if they value you more. And in my
Right.
situation, I would be forced to retire from fighting completely unless I wanted to coach or own a gym. You know, my hands are tied.
Right.
So that.
Nobody's paying you $5 million a night to coach a gym.
Not to coach Jim, but I do believe wholeheartedly that that you know the companies that own Bellator and some of these other leagues do have the same amount of backing, financial backing that the UFC had, and I do believe that having John Jones be the new face of your promotion, especially today when I'm really making an effort for the first time to really get my shit somewhat together.
Oh, dude, so you're in such a good place right now, and it's
I
evident.
do feel good. My last DWI has done a lot for me, man. It set me free in so many ways. It embarrassed me. It reality checked me. It you know, I've never been on camera drunk for the public to see like that. It was humiliating and somewhat of a bottom for me, and I'm ready to snap it into high gear. But anyways, I think right now is a good time for any company to have me, for sure.
Absolutely.
And my goal is to be an asset to any company that I'm a part of. And I got a feeling that if I am able to get out of my UFC contract, that I would be huge for another company.
For sure.
You know, I just wish that my relationship with Dana wasn't the way that it is. And it's like, I get that you want to make these hundreds of millions of dollars off me, but if you don't like me anymore, if you flat out don't like me,
I
Or-
wouldn't say that. I hear
I don't think
Dana
I don't-
saying
I
you're the
don't think he
best to
likes
ever
me.
do it.
Yeah,
He
you
calls
could say
he's the
that. You
best
could-
to ever do it.
you could easily say what you want to say, but I don't feel like he actually likes me. I've never had whiskey night and dinners and shit like that. And
I
listen,
wonder, man, and you know, I wonder because I believe that our perception of something can be so wildly different than the reality of it.
It could be.
And-
I don't think I'm his favorite person. I think it's really clear when you watch one of his interviews when I come up. And my point is that if that's what it is, if it has gotten to a place of being personal, then I would just much rather work for a company where I felt like I went home. I'm home when I go to work. The employees, and I do have great relationships with the UFC staff. Great relationship with UFC staff, but it's
I
just a weird
think,
feeling when you feel like they don't really want you there.
My perception is different, and when you say I think Dana doesn't like me, we're reacting to the same stuff. We're watching interviews. You know, it's not a personal conversation, and my take on it is not that he doesn't like you or that it's
What do you
not.
think it is?
I just think that he's been put on the spot, saying, you know, John Jones wants more money. And then it's like, oh, and so you're kind of at the negotiating table with him in front of the whole world, with the media covering it all.
Right.
And so I don't think that it's a question of whether he likes you as a person or, you know, or is respectful of you. I just think, oh, now I'm being forced to negotiate on a world stage, which isn't ideal. And so he's just kind of defending his position in a way that I don't think, would consider personal on any level. Now you're taking business and you're spilling it out into, you know, I mean, that's just what's happening.
Yeah.
And so I think he cares for you very much. When I hear him say he could have been LeBron James, I look at that and I think that he wants you to be the LeBron James, you know?
Yeah, I do believe that.
I think he does like you. I think he does care about you, and I think that he's a shrewd businessman, you know. And I think that he's got a monopoly on the entire sport of MMA, so he is in a luxurious position to pay people what the fuck he wants to pay them. He's basically the man.
Yeah,
he's the man, and we're huge fans of his. We're huge fans of yours. And, you know, I hate to say it to you, but, dude, I don't give a fuck who's fighting. I'm never missing a fight.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. I don't blame you. I'm a fan of the UFC myself. The UFC will go on whether I fight or not. I got nothing to lose being in the position that I'm in right now. You know.
Right.
Do you want to fight soon?
Okay.
No, I don't want to fight soon. I don't want to fight soon. I have no interest in fighting in the UFC until I get paid what I believe I'm worth. And a lot of fans, like Steve-O, like just said, will continue to watch the UFC and support the UFC, and I have no problem with that. I just ordered the last pay-per-view myself. I want to continue to watch the UFC.
Okay, now on the
but I
question
think it's
of
really
what-
powerful when you stand up for what you believe is
Sure.
right. And I think that eventually the UFC will realize that they're being stubborn. They'll realize that they do have a special athlete in myself, and I think they'll realize. I think they'll eventually meet me halfway.
Is there a certain percentage point you want to see, or is there, if you can wave a magic wand to get your needs met, what does that look like? I mean, you want more?
I don't think we need to get into that kind of detail.
That's a good question though. But I won't get into specific numbers. I'm not asking for anything outrageous, and I know we're in a pandemic, and I know when you're a multimillionaire and you're asking for more, it makes you seem like this greedy person and all these type of things. I'm very aware of all this, but I'm also very aware that I have the voice and the platform to make change. Most of the guys who are doing the absolute worst are not in a position that they could say publicly, I have a second job. I'm borrowing money from my parents.
Right.
I know so many fighters that are living in the Jackson's MMA gym because they can't afford to have their own apartment. And they're UFC fighters.
And they just fought.
So this is sad. And if I have to have a bad relationship with Dana, sit out for 2 years, 3 years to bring light to what's happening.
Let's not sit out for two years.
To bring light to what's happening, then these are the things that people remember you for more than winning belts. The guy stood for the younger fighters.
It's a legacy thing, dude.
It is.
You've already sealed your legacy with
fighting.
Right.
Now it's
Physically.
like, who are you? What do you stand for? What are you about? In what way are you innovative, trying to change the world for better? What are you doing? Because
Here's what, I gotta just stop you there and say it again. Let's not go 2 years without fighting. Okay, I realize it's
Steve.
important to me, and I also want to say that as it relates to what you're worth, there's something there, big time, and I think that you are worth exponentially more now. And this is just my take. But I think you're worth so much more now because you've been in a place that's the worst place to be for a UFC fighter, where nobody even fucking necessarily cares that much because they know you're gonna clobber your opponent so bad. It's just like, okay, you know, we got a main event, but it's not even like really the interesting fight because it's such a blowout. It's so one-sided. It's like the problem that Amanda Nunes has right now.
Mike Tyson.
Valentina Shevchenko. Mike Tyson was a little bit different of a story because they just wanted to see how fast it was and how explosive it was. But Amanda Nunes, Valentina Shevchenko, John Jones, those are the names I can think of where it's like, man, they don't have a fight. Who do you put them up against? It's not even interesting.
Right, and now I'm finally at a place where there are big fights. Dominic Reyes, Thiago
Huge.
Santos rematch.
Huge. I mean, your last two fights has gotten people saying, like, John Jones looks human in his last two fights.
Right.
He seems somehow beatable in his last two fights. I'm not necessarily saying I believe that's the case, but there's theories out there.
What is that? Why
Yeah.
are you looking like that?
I mean,
Because it's shitty. We all have bad days at work.
I think that's the best thing for you because now, if the belief is out there, if it's in the consciousness that John Jones is beatable, then your pay-per-view numbers are way up.
Are gonna go
you
high.
are worth way more as a potentially beatable fighter than you are as the guy that you know it's going to be a blowout.
I 100% agree. I think that I'm even more beatable as a heavyweight, and that's why I went to Dana White looking for a raise. Daniel Cormier got a raise when he went heavyweight. I was looking for a raise to go heavyweight. Francis Ngannou is scary. You
Yeah,
know,
he is.
there's a big chance that he could break my jaw, and
Sure.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that as a fighter. I've whooped enough ass that if someone eventually gets me, then we all have our day. I'm okay with that. But I think that shit comes with an increase of pay. I think
What about-
me at heavyweight? The pay-per-view numbers are going to go up inevitably. More people are going to watch. But
I think, dude,
even
if you fight Dominic Reyes again, your pay-per-view numbers are going to
Yeah,
go up. I think
absolutely.
you get more money for fighting Dominic Reyes.
Absolutely, but the fact that the UFC wasn't willing to budge at all, they didn't want to talk about, hey, listen, let's pay you a little, let's enhance this, let's make this. There was zero negotiation. Whether you go heavyweight next, whether you used to fight Dominic Reyes next, whether you fight Jan Blachowicz next, you were gonna get paid the same amount, and that's what made me retire because I just,
Okay.
it was
Okay, but the percentage on the pay-per-view, you do get paid more if it sells better.
I get paid more after more people start to buy the fight. So like on the first million buys, you know, you get like a certain amount of dollars, and then after after first 100,000, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's all incentive based.
Sure.
So yes,
It's back end, like on Jackass movies. You know,
yeah,
I got a little
it's back
percentage
in.
of the
But
profit.
what I wanted was just the guarantee up front to go up a bit because at the end of the day, when I fight, you know, I don't know exactly what the UFC brings in, but I'm assuming it's somewhere around.
It's so funny how exactly like the movie business this is because there's two pieces of our movie contract. There's the upfront money, which you're talking about, and then there's the back end money, which is once the budget's been recouped, and then now like we
Then you
share
have to
the
trust
profits.
you have to trust them to tell you how many movies are selling. And shit. Are you auditing your people?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're a pretty legit industry, and we've got high-power lawyers, all of us. So
Okay.
I think that we're pretty protected
See,
in
with
that
the
regard.
UFC, no one questions what's happening in the backstages. No one's really auditing them to see how many pay-per-views actually did sell. They could say, hey, you sold 200 buys this time, and here's your check.
But aren't the pay-per-view
Or they could say, hey, it's been
numbers?
700 buys
But
this
it's kind of
time.
like them saying like, "Hey, we're gonna pay you the same amount for Jackass 2 than we do for whatever," you know?
Well, right. Of course. You should be always bringing more, and I think you're worth more because, fuck, I mean, people are tuning in for the possibility that maybe John Jones is gonna get beat.
Especially at heavyweight.
Why
It's
do you
like,
think
as
you're more
I've been-
beatable at heavyweight?
More beatable?
It's more power.
It's just simple. The guys, they hit so much harder. They hit so much harder. So the chances of getting knocked out is higher. But at the same time, I've been facing heavyweights for a long time, and I do really good against those guys. I'm surprisingly really strong, and I'm fast, and I just move well. My body mechanics move very well, so I think I can do things that they just don't do, and they just can't do.
Well, right, and if you look at
Your
what
fight
Stipe
IQ.
did to Ngannou, I mean, it's kind of a question of just getting through the first round with him, and then you
Yeah.
just get so tired.
With Francis Ngannou, it's very simple. Get comfortable with the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is he knocks you the fuck out. He possibly fractures a bone in your face. That's the worst case scenario. You get real comfortable with that idea, and then it becomes easy. If he doesn't knock you out and break your face, you're smart, you're fast, you have a chin, you have great head movement. You know, you can wrestle. You can. There's a lot of ways things can play out. So I just think about the worst case scenario and get yourself mentally to a place where you're almost walking into that. Like, okay, I'm getting ready to go out there and this guy could possibly hurt me tonight. Okay, now that I've faced that, I've swallowed that, I'm sure you have the similar conversation
Sure.
before you jump off something. You're like, okay,
Well,
this
right.
could go this way.
For sure.
So that's the way I look at it. It's like, yeah, Francis Ngannou is dangerous, yes. I believe that he has a chance to knock me the fuck out. Let's say that out loud. But if I don't get knocked out, I believe I win that fight. I just got to get through round one, and I win that fight.
Yeah.
How do you want to beat Ngannou? You want a knockout or any way you can?
I just want to beat the scariest, baddest dude on the planet. And if that's Francis, Stipe, or DC,
Yeah, so you're open to DC at heavyweight?
yeah, I'm just ready to finally stop playing games with greatness and just go for it. It's like, John, if
Dude, I love it.
if you believe that you have something that is special, that is even a gift from your higher power, then stop questioning it, because
chills.
it's
Yeah, I love that.
insulting.
I get the
That's
chills,
goosebumps,
dude.
man. That's
Because it's
goosebumps.
insulting. It's insulting to your creator that you believe that he will put limitations on what he's giving
sure.
you.
Okay, man, that's huge.
Yeah.
I think we're
You
just
know.
about there. But you said something that was a big deal, and you said, get comfortable with the worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Is it an inevitability that you're going to fight until there is a defeat? Do you want to try to get out while you're still undefeated?
Yeah. My goal is to get out while I'm still undefeated, but my goal is also to risk it all for my last few fights.
I love it. I love it. And I had a conversation with Ronda Rousey on her YouTube channel, and she said some pretty heavy stuff. Because notoriously, like, it was well known that she took the Holm defeat real hard, and she took the Nunes defeat even harder. She was just in a gnarly place. And but then she came out of it like a healthier person. She told me, she said, I feel like if I would have left undefeated, if I would have like walked away with the belt, like that would have been selfish. She says the way I did it, I feel good about. I passed the torch, to the, I didn't keep it for myself. And like, I mean, maybe that's where you wind up when you work through something. But my question is, like, if there is a defeat, what kind of like preparation, what kind of what was your, could you wrap your head around a loss? That's the question.
I feel like I have taken losses throughout my whole adult life publicly. To be accused of steroids, you go from hero to zero immediately in some people's eyes. And even though USADA has proven that there's a reason for those picograms, and picograms gives you zero athletic performance.
You've never
doesn't
looked
help
like
you.
a guy who's on steroids.
And even though I'm viewed as a steroid user in some people's eyes for the rest of my life, which hurts me deeply, honestly. That's a defeat. I lost my mom. That's a defeat. I lost my sister to cancer. That's a defeat.
This right here is a win.
a hit and run against a pregnant woman, humiliating, and just you looked at as a monster. To be involved with something like that, that's a defeat. So I've dealt with so much defeat already, and I feel like my career has been such a tremendous blessing already, and everything that I do in my career is just a cherry on top of something that's already been great.
Yeah.
If I were to retire today, they could say that kid truly, came, saw, and conquered.
And you could retire.
Yeah, I could retire. So I look at losing as, at this point in my life, as John, you're already the greatest light heavyweight of all time.
And let's not even limit it to
Yeah,
light
light
heavyweight.
heavyweight.
Let's just say fighter.
As a light heavyweight, though, I'm the greatest light heavyweight of all time, and I don't think that's arguable right now. So, in my psychology, I've already retired that, and that UFC career is already on the shelf, and now I'm trying to focus on who am I as a person outside of that.
That's what I'm talking about.
And
you got to separate you, the person, from you, the fighter.
yes,
And because like
being suspended also has helped me with, I was suspended at one point for almost 2 years for that steroid thing. So that helped me start to process, John, who are you when you don't have the UFC to lean on? Who are you? And I've learned about myself that right away I find someone to work out with, and that gets me off the couch. And and then right now I have the Care Project, and it's the first time in my life where I finally am a part of something. Dude, this Care Project is so big for me. It's like all I've ever been my whole life is a father, a man to my girl Jessie, a friend, and like this UFC fighter. I feel like my whole image has been based around. I've been John Jones, John Bones Jones, John Bones Jones. I'm trying to create a life of more substance outside the UFC. I'm trying to get to a place where I don't want to fight anymore, or I don't care about fighting anymore. Because
You're not getting validation from that anymore.
I want life that's just so powerful and fulfilling outside of UFC, so that if I do come back, my idea will be that I am truly giving them a gift. This is not for me. This is, you guys have paid me enough to get me to come back, and this is for this is for like the fans of the sport, but this isn't something that I need to do anymore. I want life outside. I want my friends to think, yo, John is the fucking best friend to ever be friends with. I want my daughters to, which they already do, absolutely love me and admire me and respect me. I want my girl to look at me like, yo, I got the baddest fucking man ever. You know, like that's where I'm at right now. It's like being the UFC champion doesn't matter to nobody, but
It's kind of cool.
it's cool. It's cool, but who does it really affect at the end of the day? Me and my circle, right? Having
Well,
money,
dude,
who does that affect? Me and my kids, right? Being an athlete don't mean shit if you're not doing something with it. If you're not impacting somebody else in some type of positive way, or friends, family, and what really matters. So the UFC might want to hurry up and try to get me back before I develop this identity that has nothing to do with fighting and not want to go back.
What I've noticed about you is I've always seen you on, on ESPN, and I've had this idea of you, but like getting to know you over the last couple of days, you're really fucking funny, dude. And even when the cameras are off, it's like, dude, you come out of your house singing the Lion King fucking thing in a robe, and like Steve and I are swimming, and you're like, hey, room for me? It's like,
dude, you're like a little kid almost, right? You've got this little kid energy, like you're playful, like you're like you love life, you're enjoying it, and this care project deal, the biggest thing for me. And spending the last couple of days with your crew, and man, what a last couple of days, man! This trip,
your crew is the shit.
This trip has been,
dude.
This trip has been so epic.
Thank you.
The trip's been so epic, and in talking to your crew, it's like everybody who's involved in this care project, these are the people who are like a positive influence on you.
Yeah.
And I've heard it, like I've heard some of the guys say, like, man, if he stays with this circle, this group of people around him, then like he can't go wrong.
Yeah.
But there is like some kind of other element, there's some kind of other crew that like if you wander over and start hanging with them, it's kind of all bad.
Yeah, I feel like the coronavirus and my last DWI, the coronavirus itself, it changed something in my psychology. It just made me start looking at everyone that I was hanging out with a little differently. I'm trying to look at like, okay, I got a lot of buddies that I go to the bar with and stuff. And since the virus struck, it just helped me look at the people that I surround myself with and ask me like, okay, what do I get out of this friendship, and what is this doing?
Dude, you don't need a coronavirus to do that.
That's
man.
what the coronavirus really helped me though, because it helped me learn how to stay home on Fridays and Saturdays.
Wow, I can't even imagine that. It's like a
my wife, she allows me to live the way I want, pretty much, and she doesn't harass me about going out and stuff like that with my boys and stuff. So, so before the world got put on hold, I used to have this fear of missing out. I had to be out. I had to be at the party. I had to be doing something that I considered wild and fun, and coronavirus really helped me realize that, John, you're not missing anything out there, and that everything that really, really matters is happening during the daytime, and with your wife, with your kids, and coronavirus just really helped me detach from the nightlife. And now that it's reopening, and people are hitting me up, yo, let's go here. They open here. There's mad people on the patio over here.
Yeah.
And now I've learned this lifestyle of accountability partners, and I'll have my strength coach, Garrett, meet up with me 3 days a week, and then I'll have my endurance coach, Lawrence, meet up with me twice a week, and then I'll have my dog trainers meet up 3 days a week, and then I'll have my family to do these little date nights, and my daughters to box 2 days a week, and then before you know it, you've locked yourself in with so many sober people, and you can't, So I'm like, I got like 2 or 3 things to do almost every day with somebody who's sober, that's a physical activity, and I don't have time. I don't have time to be getting hungover or doing stupid stuff right now, and it's my accountability partners and my friends, close friends and coaches have set me free, and they got me operating at closer to like a 80% level right now, when for the longest time I was operating at 90% in training camp, and then I would go back down to being about a 40% person.
What about all the stories about you didn't even fucking train? You were whooping everybody's ass.
Dude, I used to never train, dude. I used to just, man, I would smoke a ton of pot in between fights, get drunk on the weekends, be going to church on Sunday. I love God with all my heart. That's something that is very genuine about me. But yeah, I had this side of me that just didn't work hard or try hard at all. I would only try hard in camp, and Just being a loser, man. I was lucky that I didn't get in trouble more than I actually did get in trouble. But right now, man, I'm opening up this new ideal in life.
You know, the
and
first
it's
night,
staying busy, and I'm happy.
and the first night that we met, right? Like, you came to the green room at the show. Like, I'm doing this fucking show, and the venue manager says, "Hey, John Jones is here. He's wondering if you could come back and say hi." And I'm like, "What the fuck? No way, of course." So John comes back. We hit it off. We exchange phone numbers, and I'm like, "Yo, dude, let's beat up my ear tonight." You go, "Dude, cauliflower ear, it's on, dude. We're gonna do it." And I'm like, "Okay, I gotta finish my meet and greet, but then we'll meet up." Right? And
I took off on you, didn't
yeah, dude. You went.
Does
you
sound
went,
familiar, John?
He went off the radar, and I was like, "Oh, John Jones doing his thing."
Stiff me.
I mean, like, it's all good, but it seemed kind of evident to me that you were with Bad Circle.
Yeah. You know, I know everyone knows that about your sobriety, and for a while, I felt like I surrounded myself with people that like to drink and smoke, and so out of respect for you, you know, we took off. But right now, man, I'm at a place where I realize the responsibility that I have, the platform that I have, and I realize that people respect you way more for what can you do for others, for serving, than winning championships. Dude, winning another championship for Albuquerque, like, I do it for my city. I represent the Burque, the 505. Yeah, that's nice. But bro, donating half your endorsement money to charities a month, and doing that type of stuff is like, I feel alive right now, dude. It's like it makes you want to behave. It makes you want to keep that going. Behaving to be the champ, that's no pressure. People expect a world champion, UFC fighter, cage fighter to be a little wild, you know. But when you are the face of a foundation about care, it forces you to mature and to elevate yourself to a person that is always on, and always trying to do the right thing. So I'm excited to see what I transition into over the next few years. It's gonna be great.
I mean, dude.
Especially with guys like you, man.
Yeah.
Who's just a freaking former wild boy who's completely sober now, man.
I'm still wild, dude. I'm still wild as fuck.
You always try to stop me when I'm complimenting you, bro. But the way that you have changed your life, bro, and even seeing your movie last night made me respect you so much more, bro. It's just, you went from such a, I'll say, dark place, man, to just, now you're just filled with a smile, and just, you're trying to use all that same fire and energy to change the world for the better. And I'm honored to be your friend, bro. And,
likewise.
And I want to look at you as someone as a mentor too. People are like, dude, Steve as a mentor, Steve-O as John Jones's mentor. I think you'll be a good ear.
Well,
a good person to talk to. So.
Thank you so much, and I hope that you know, any part of this that was like wasn't. I hope there wasn't any part of this that was like rude or disrespectful or anything, because I have like so much respect.
When you were in the pool.
Yeah.
Pull your shorts up all the way. My wife hates seeing your ass crack.
Okay.
Did she say something to you?
Yeah, right away. Your friend's ass crack is like halfway out. I was like,
all right, man. I'll try and tune it up. If that's the worst thing that happened, then that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
All right, man, dude. I can say, dude, I love you, John Jones,
love
man.
You too, Steve-O.
What a bitchin' episode. And you know what else is really bitchin'? This signed 8x10 print of that building jump. Yeah, they're available already at stevo.com, so please head on over there and get it, because 100% of the revenue is going straight to the Roadrunner Food Bank of New Mexico. Plus, look right there. That signature looks just like a dick. That's why I call it a dickograph. Yeah, and it's only $25, which buys up to 125 meals for hungry New Mexicans. So please do the right thing. Get yourself this super dope signed 8x10. And, you know, the street team, I gotta love you guys. Thank you so much. And, yeah, we'll see you next week.